Respecting the traditional custodians, we acknowledge the Turrbal and Kaurna peoples as the original inhabitants of the lands now known as Brisbane and Adelaide. We pay our respects to their elders past, present, and emerging, and recognize their enduring connection to the land, waters, and culture.
Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of Brown Girls Down Under. This is episode 33 and I'm one of your hosts, Deshani, joining from Adelaide, and I've got Shanali. As I was saying before, this is now episode 33, but the introduction is still very awkward. I don't know. We might need to sit down and then come to an agreement on a proper introduction.
Yeah, I think
and
so.
stick to it.
Honestly, I don't know what to say at the start. It's just awkward.
Yeah.
But
because
then
it's more
it's not obviously us. When we talk, we're fine. It's just when we record, it's we lose everything.
Because we have a pre-podcast session before we
actually
hit. Before we actually hit record, we have our own little podcast session, and then we're we should probably record, and then it's awkward.
Yes.
How's your week been, Shanali?
My week's been good. Still adjusting to life with my parents gone. It's very hard because dishwasher's not emptying itself. Our clothes are not washing itself. I'm what is going on? We leave our clothes on our clothes rack for days. Whereas my parents, they would do our laundry and take it in on the same day and it's put away. I don't know how they didn't do it because I literally keep it out for about 4 days.
Brown parents have the energy to do all of this.
Seriously, my parents...
they have been doing this forever, right?
My parents, one thing about them is they're obsessed with laundry. So when they were here, we've got 2 laundry, standing, dryers. And they would load those up with the clothes, and then outside we've got another laundry line. So that was loaded up. And then my dad would just follow the sun. Wherever the sun goes, he would go around with the laundry. And then clothes have to be taken in by 4 p.m. Otherwise it goes cold. Apparently Seetalaveno. And I'm man, I don't even know what that means. So laundry's out by 9 a.m.
I would still wear it while it's wet.
Exactly. Same here. I don't care. Ryan and I would just iron over it to dry it and wear it. We don't care.
True.
But they were so concerned about it, which is great for us. It worked for us. But I know now I'm we have to do everything, it's so much work, Adulting is just so hard.
And then, I don't know why. I remember, when I think I was still a student, my mum, obviously the first year that I came here, after probably 8 or 9 months, she came back to visit me. And then I don't think after I bought a car, until she came back after 9 months, I haven't washed it. And then she's oh, the car is so dirty, we need to wash it. I'm can you just take... This is probably the second day since she's been... she's come back. I'm can you just calm down? And then she needs to go to Kmart 4 times a day.
Oh my God.
She needs to go to Big W. And then she needs to go to shopping centers to buy... Because she wanted to send boxes. She needs to buy all this chocolate. And she wants to go to Costco because it's so much cheaper there. I'm can you just calm down? You're exhausting me.
I swear they're just made of the same material because my mum was the same, it's just constantly buying things to send home for other people. I'm just just chill.
And I'm 27 years younger than you. How do you have this much energy when I don't?
I know.
I don't understand. They're we need to buy this for this auntie's son, this auntie's daughter. I need to get something for this. I'm and I'm why did you tell all these people that you're coming here? It's I don't know. I was excited. I'm okay, but why?
Oh man, I know. I totally know the feeling.
You should be just spend time. I swear to God, she didn't spend that much time with me. I think she spent more time at Kmart. But
so how long did she stay for when she came back the second?
She stayed for 3 weeks, and then after 2 weeks she wanted to go back early.
Oh,
because
really? Because you bored her so much.
No, because my father was complaining that my younger sisters weren't listening to him. I was like, I don't know how to take care of these. They don't listen to me. And they fight all the time. And mom was like, I need to go back. And I was like, you're not going back. Is this a joke? You're not going back.
It sounds like a soap opera or something.
I know. And I'm like, is this why you came? Like, just so you could pack up and
so
leave.
funny.
But I think she also kind of also, and it's tough when, like, this is why I wish I had waited a few more years before I got her to come. But then now I'm trying to get her to come and she won't come. Because when you're a student and you're working part-time, you don't have that much time to be able to spend with your like parents.
I agree, yeah.
That's the same thing happened when MJ's dad also came, because we were both students and I was in my last year. So it was like everything was very hectic. But he was like, one thing about MJ's dad is like he makes friends everywhere he goes. So he was going to like cricket matches with random people. So we didn't have to like
Babysit him.
worry about not spending too much time with him because he had friends everywhere. So that was like kind of good. But yeah, I don't know how we got here.
I don't know, me
Okay,
neither.
yeah, your week.
Yes, my
Your
week.
week.
Yes. Also, another update. I got a hammock, which I'm so excited about. Just adult things that make me so excited. So, obviously we moved into a new house a few months ago, and one of my uncles visited from Sydney, and he was like, "You guys really need a hammock because you've got a beautiful yard, you've got beautiful trees.
Do.
And like you like to read, you can sit in the hammock and read." I was like, "Oh, that sounds so good." But it was like at the bottom of my priority list. And then the other day I come home from work and there's a hammock sitting in our like front deck. So he sent a hammock to us, which was so nice of him.
Oh.
Yeah, him and his wife, which was so sweet. So we set it up.
That's so
I
sweet.
know, so sweet. We set it up a few days ago.
So thoughtful.
Yeah. So I was like, is this because you want to come visit us again? So you want to use it? Is that what you're trying to do? But we set it up and oh my God, Desh, I'm telling you, like, I just had like this most surreal moment yesterday, right? So yesterday was the first day I used it. We set it up the night before. I put it under, like we have a tree in the garden. I put it under the tree and I lay in it. The weather was chef's kiss, stunning.
Describe it.
The wind,
Describe the weather to me.
Let me put my teacup away. So we've got a lot of like palm trees in our garden and our neighbor's garden, right? So the wind, like the sea breeze, because we live close to the water, the sea breeze was blowing through the trees. The wind, it was beautiful. I could hear the birds chirping. I was laying in the hammock and I was like, this is the epitome of living. Like, I want to die in this hammock. That's all I want.
Enough
I
of
just
this.
want it. And it was so comfortable that I took a book to read, but I fell asleep. Because, like it swings, like it's like a cradle.
Yeah, it's
and
like,
So it's like, I understand why babies fall asleep because it was just like gently flowing to the wind and I full blown had a nap. And then it got a bit cold, so I went and got a blanket and I was just like chilling. And then I feel something fall on the blanket, like plop, and it was a freaking bird who shot on me.
nature.
But
It's just nature.
I know, but luckily it was
You had a
like
blanket.
I had a blanket and it was on my legs. Like I was fully trying to turn the other way. Imagine it would have like fallen in my mouth. But I'm so glad.
Was it warm?
Yes, it was. It was. It was disgusting. So today I did the same thing. Like I got into the hammock again, but I moved it like away from the tree because I was like, "You little birds, you're not gonna get me this time."
The bird was like, oh, she's just enjoying life a little too much. I need to do something.
Let me do something and like plop. And I saw the bird. I looked up and I could see it. I was like, I'll fight you if you're not on the. But literally,
Birds are scary, man.
I know birds, but I'm scared of birds. See, people laugh at me when I tell them I'm scared of birds. I do not like birds.
No, I think
at
I'm
all.
scared of birds too.
Yeah, they're scary.
Yeah.
They're so scary. But I was literally
Anyway.
sitting in that hammock and I was like, this is like a moment that I'm gonna remember for the rest of my life. Like it was not even that deep, but I was just so happy in that moment. Like I don't know why. Like
It
what
was.
what was going on. I was like, oh, this is just so nice. And I was like, I can't wait for Ryan to get home so I could tell him about my happy moment. And I told him he didn't even care. Like he was like, yeah, cool.
He's like, okay, grandma.
Yeah, he was like, okay, cool story, bro. But it was great.
But it's the little things
It's
in
the
life,
little
right?
things. That's what I said. It's like, honestly, the littlest things. Like a hammock that makes me so happy. And I swear I'm going to get on that every single day. Because it's like big enough where you can, like, I can sit on my laptop and do work. Or I can read. Or I can nap. Like, I can do anything I want, you know. So I am
Yeah.
fully intending on doing that. So, yeah.
Well, I'm so happy for you,
Thank you.
enough of this because I'm extremely jealous now. I need that in my
I
life.
think so too.
Yeah.
but anyway, how's
But
your
let me
week
tell you
been?
about
Yes, tell me.
exactly. Let me tell you about my week.
Tell me. Go for it.
But that sounds lovely, and I'll tell you about like my weekend, and then I had a similar sort of day where I was
Ooh.
like, "This is life," so we can talk about it.
Yeah.
But my week was like I went to site for 2 days, and so I went there Wednesday, so I was gonna come back Thursday. So I had a bit of a rocky start to my, I guess, weekend because I went to site Wednesday, and then Thursday was, tell me why I go to site fortnightly, and the day that I go to site it's 42 degrees.
Ew, gross.
I know, it was so hot, so humid, and this is the day where, like, my mentor, bless him though, he's very nice and very good. He's like, let's go look at substations, Dashani. We need to go to at least 8 substations.
Oh my gosh.
So we're like, okay, good. But no, it was like, but luckily, it's just all the substations usually have like, the electrical equipment, and you don't want them to be overheating. So they've got like really good AC in them, so which was really good. So it wasn't that bad. It's just more like getting in the car and walking out on the sun was like, and this week was horrible because I forgot to take my sunscreen as well. So it was awful.
How could you?
I know. So it was like, I've aged at least like 10 years just from that one day.
You're lucky you're brown and your skin is more forgiving.
Yeah, exactly. So that was okay. And then Thursday, so it was 42-degree weather. And then I was meant to fly back so on Thursdays, we have 2 flights. One at 5:30, one at 6 p.m. So 5:30 p.m. and 6 p.m. I'm usually on the 6 p.m. flight. And for some reason, earlier this week, I got a message saying I have been bumped to the 5:30 flight, which is fine, like amazing. 30 minutes before, all good. And then Thursday, during like, at about 3 p.m, when I'm like getting to like, starting to pack up because you need to go to the airport a little sooner, even at Roxby. I get a text message saying your flight has been delayed, but due to the hot weather, your new time of departure is 6 p.m, which is like only a 30-minute delay.
Why do they
which is
delay
like-
due to hot weather? What does that have to do with?
See, I also didn't know, but I think it has something to do with air density, where like when it's extremely hot, the
Okay.
density density goes down, I believe, and then the aircrafts are gonna need more fuel to, I guess they can't get as much lift.
Okay.
Is what I think. Is what I've come up with. But I also don't know how people then fly, how they fly in like countries like Middle Eastern countries, because
Yeah,
it's like
exactly.
seriously
Always
so
hot, yeah.
Maybe it's a different type of aircraft
Yeah,
that's
yeah, yeah,
capable
yeah.
of maybe. But
If
anyway,
anyone
I was
knows,
like,
let us
okay.
know.
Yeah, exactly. Let us know in the comments. So anyway, I was like, but still, no matter how delay your flights get, you still have to check in to the airport at the original check-in times. That's the rule. So I'm like, that's okay. I'll just go to the airport. It's just like 30 minutes. And so I get there. And I'm like, now there's people from the 5:30 flight in there as well as the 6 o'clock flight now. And now it's like super packed. And so now usually if the flight's at 6 o'clock, they start boarding at least like around 5:40, right? And it's not a massive plane. It's like 100 people. So, and now it's like 5:45. 5:50, and at this point I'm like, okay, we're not leaving at 6 o'clock. So I was hoping I didn't know, and I didn't know anything at this point. There was no information why it was being delayed, and it was looking cloudy because it didn't look like it was not that the thing that was stopping us from departing is not because of hot weather, because it
okay.
looked cloudy. It was humid, but it was cloudy. So we wait. It's like 6:30, 6:45, and there's this massive storm outside.
Oh, okay.
Literally, like the airport, it's like raining so heavily, almost to a point where we could see the trees were almost like getting like,
wow.
removed, ready to be dragged out, like almost like a tornado, but
Really?
not a tornado. But we could see the glasses of the airport. The airport was quite secure,
That's
but you could see
hectic.
the windows shaking.
Yeah.
It was crazy. Outside, literally everything was like brown. It got very, because of the sand as well, the wind and sand, to a point where you couldn't like see because it was so much sand. And I'm like, what the hell is this? And then obviously we knew like the flight was, you can't fly in these conditions.
Yeah.
So we're like, okay, that's fine. And I was like, at this point I had called MJ and asked him to pick up like takeout from this like Sri Lankan place. And I was just like, I had my lunch at like 12, right? So I haven't eaten anything. And I was like getting hangry. So anyway, and then 15 minutes later, everything calmed down and it looked as if nothing happened. No storm outside. But what happened was, because of this storm, one of the main power transmission lines to Olympic Dam, I think 2 even, got damaged. So there was no power to site, no power to the camps, and no power to town. Luckily, the airport had power because of the generators. So what happens, and I think, so we got to know all of these like safety precaution reactions after all of this happened, because we got like emails from our asset president and all of that. So what happens, because our mine is a 24/7 mine, so we have night shifts, we have day shifts, so it's constantly like people are working all the time. What happens during a power outage is that you don't have, and we have an underground mine. So we need to be maintaining an air reticulation throughout the mine for people to breathe, to get like radioactive air out, and it's quite hot in there, so you need to be constantly reticulating air. So that system would be down. And then we also, to drill holes, we use water, and the water would collect, and then there's no pumps. So we have dewatering pumps. So all those pumps were down. So if at any point in time, if you lose power, you need to evacuate the mines, and you cannot keep anyone underground. And that's it is, I think now that I'm thinking about it, it's so well thought of, all these like safety protocols. So everyone was like, get the people out of the mine, because that's not the safe place to be there when in such situations. And that, like, I think now that I'm thinking back and looking back at all the things that the people have done, it's just like amazing teamwork. Like, you don't see this happening in like Sri Lanka or like any mining, I guess. Mining, if you think about mining industry in Sri Lanka, is extremely dangerous. There's only certain people that does it, who's been doing that for a lifetime, and even then people die, and that doesn't stop them from like doing it the same way. So in that sense, it was like so nice to see. But anyway, so we were just waiting, and then by the time they boarded our plane, it was 9:45 p.m.
Oh my god.
So we were stuck, and even like that boat, it was raining at the same time. But so you know how we have, so we don't have big like terminals like in Roxby Downs. We don't have terminals like those international or domestic
Yeah.
airports that we have in major cities. So it's like to get to climb to the plane, you have like this staircase. Have you seen that before?
Yeah.
Even if so you have that, right? Two people were holding that because there was that much wind, and they only allowed one person to
time.
climb up the stairs at a time. And I'm like, what the hell is this? And I was so hungry at this point. I was
can
like, get me
imagine.
out of this place because I need to see my child. I need to see my cat.
And eat.
And yes, exactly. And they were announcing, can we have 10 volunteers to just fly out tomorrow? I'm like, no way. Get me out of this place.
So did people
So
volunteer?
bad. I think some people did because under these conditions they can't carry as much weight or something like that.
Okay.
But yeah, so I was on the 5:30 fly. So we somehow we left at 10. I got home at 11:30. I went to bed at like 2 or 1 at 1:30 or something. It's crazy. And then I get up the next morning, Friday, and my buddy calls me. He was on the 6 o'clock flight.
Oh my God.
He's still at Roxby Downs. He told me they cancelled their flight and they had sent everyone back to camp because that staircase that they were holding, because of the wind, I think it fell onto the aircraft and damaged the aircraft or something like that. And I'm like, what? I was like, imagine my luck. I was supposed to be on that flight, but I got bumped into this flight.
Yeah, true.
But at least I got out.
At least you got
and they
home.
didn't come. Exactly, and they didn't come back until like 12 midday the next day.
Wow, what an experience.
So that was crazy. I know. I was like, because you can't really blame anyone, right? This is not because of like no one did their job properly. It's
exactly. It's just
weather. It is what it
natural,
is.
Natural, yeah.
Exactly. And now I think we still don't have power to site. As in, we have like power at the airport and the mess. And we have generators supplying power to the most crucial parts of the plant because we have like furnaces that we need to keep them running because we can't let them we can't get the temperature down because otherwise it's going to be a big deal. But also you can only keep it going for so long as well. I think they're predicting a 7-day production impact at this stage. But yeah, that was eventful.
Yeah, what a story.
But it gets better.
Oh,
So
there's more.
yeah, and then so no, as in it gets better, as in it does. Like,
Oh,
not
it gets
suffers.
better. Okay.
It-
I was
it
like,
gets
tell me
better.
more, sister.
So I get out. That's fine. Like yeah, and then we had one of my BCC, so my teams that I presented a business case challenge with. We ended up going to this the next day, like nothing happened. We ended up going to this. Have you tried virtual reality gaming? I know we've spoken about virtual
No, I
reality
haven't tried
before.
gaming, no.
Yeah, we tried that.
Oh,
Very
nice.
spontaneous
Yeah.
decision. And the game that we chose was like a zombie apocalypse
Oh, wow.
situation. And this is my first time playing this game. And then so the game starts with like you're like a special team of soldiers and you're just like training, and then all of a sudden something breaks out and you're sent on a mission to like kill zombies and also find a cure or whatever. That's the game, right? So there was 5 of us. And then I'm like, and everything looks so real, right? And then so we get into this lift, like elevator, and then we go somewhere. And then the doors open and there's like blood everywhere, but there's no zombies to see, like to be seen. Man, so they also split us into different teams. So in my team there was this one guy and then myself and another girl, and we're like, we were just telling the boys like, can you just go in front of us and we'll come behind you because it's like so scary. And then he's like, what? And then he's like going in front of us, and then I keep looking at him because that's all I can see. Everything's so dark. And then I look to my left and there's a zombie eating me.
Oh my
And I'm
God.
like, what? Excuse me, sir, what do you think you're doing? I'm dead already before I even got
Personal
started.
space.
Exactly. Can you give me some space, please? After a while, and it was so scary. I was just screaming my lungs off.
my God.
But after a while, it's just like fine. I was like, die, bitch, die. And then part of the game, you get into this helicopter, and then you're like riding somewhere, and then someone shoots your helicopter, and then you're crashing, and it says brace for impact, and I'm like, what do I do? How do I brace for impact? Do I just sit down? Do I lie down?
Instructions, guys.
Exactly. I'm just standing there like I don't know what to do. And
I
then
think Desh,
these people,
you're like one of those people in those horror movies that just dies, you know? Like
I know.
the idiots.
I would honestly, before anything kills me, I would just kill myself
Yeah,
because I can't handle
exactly.
the stress. And then you know what, these guys, like the guys who owns this place, what they've done is we're just screaming, and they've recorded us because we can't see because if this goes on. And I have like, so I'm just standing there. Two people next to me is bracing for impact. They've lied down on the floor. I'm like, what?
They're fully playing the part.
I know, they're like such good participants.
Yeah.
But anyway, I would highly recommend it though. I was telling MJ that we should go again.
Yeah.
If you could try it though. It's really fun. Everything looks so real.
Yeah.
But it's just, I don't know how I didn't run into a wall or anything, but it was fun.
I did another virtual reality. I think I've mentioned before in my like retail job, our training is like now virtual reality. So I worked yesterday and I did a training, and I was just having so much fun that I just didn't want to leave. So I just kept doing other people's trainings because I was like, cause they have like the employee training and then the manager's training, and like no one's really stopping you from doing it. So I was like, yeah, cool, I'll just do my manager's training as well.
I mean, I'm getting paid for it anyway,
That's the
so
thing,
why
you know?
might as well.
And I was doing a 10-hour shift and I was really tired. So I was like, you know what? Like, this is a great break. But then I was doing it and I could hear people coming in and out of the room. So then, like, I was like holding that thing like... I was like, if someone just filmed me, it would be so comical because I'll be like holding the gun in everyone's face.
Yeah. And these people have taken like photos of me like screaming. And other people are just sitting down. Some people are just frowning. It's just the most funniest thing. So that was Friday, I think. Yeah. And then we played badminton on Saturday, so it was really good. And then Sunday was like the best day. It was so it said on the weather app it was going to be sunny. So I was like, that's it. This is my chance. We're going to the beach. I've been waiting for this day for like 3 months. We're going to the beach. I've planned everything. I'm like, I've packed sunscreen, like the water spray, everything. I've packed books, like clothes, everything. And then it takes ages and forever for MJ to get ready because he's like constantly, because his PC is like keeps crashing whenever he's trying to upload like the podcast or whatever. And then we finally get to the beach and we're so hungry. And then we get food and then we go to the beach. We eat food. It wasn't super sunny. It was like at this time it was around 21 or 22. Not super bad, but still quite sunny.
Yeah.
And then so we have food and then we start reading and then I fell asleep because it was like so good. It's like
amazing.
a light breeze, a light, nice cold breeze with a lot of sun. And then I had a power nap for like 20-30 minutes. It was really good.
Dream.
I know. And then there were birds, like, because we were eating, there were birds waiting for, and they were like fighting with each other. So we were just like, they're just putting on a show for us. So we're like, hang on guys, just calm down. But anyway, we went to take a dip and then we came back.
Was the water cold?
It was at first,
Yeah.
but then when you're like in there for a while, you just don't feel it. But then
Yeah.
I kept telling MJ kept freaking out because it was too cold. I was like, MJ, just train your mind to think that this is not cold. This is warm. This is actually warm.
Just lie to yourself, MJ.
Yeah, and then after some time, he's like, it's actually quite warm here. Did you pee? I was like, oh my God. And then We were there for some time, and then I kept telling him, like, you know how people do cold plunges and it said that it's good for their immunity. I was like, think of this as a cold plunge.
We're doing it for our health.
Exactly, it's for the health is well. And so we do that, and then there's we had a nice beach walk afterwards.
Nice.
And like the tummy was full, the mind was
hearts
full.
were
It was just like,
full.
well,
Oh.
exactly.
How
And then
nice.
we came back to Zoe, and then Zoe was like, I don't think she's ever sniffed like saltiness or whatever. She was just like bamboozled.
Confused.
She was like, what is this smell? But yeah, and then it was like a very good Sunday.
What a wholesome Sunday.
10 out of 10.
That's great.
I know.
Yeah.
Amazing. I think that's just, I feel like we've just taken the time of like a whole podcast just to
I
talk
was
about our
literally
week.
gonna say, like, we had a full-blown script, but
Exactly.
I don't think we even need to go for a cut. Like, I don't know if we can even talk about what we wanted to talk about, because this is gonna.
Every day we do this. Every day. I like how after, like, you know, we took like a month off, but we came back and we were like, listen guys, we can't do this. Episodes are going to be short. And look at us now, like
Just
40, 30,
babbling
40
and
minutes.
babbling.
I know. But then there's like an overwhelming amount of support and, you know, nice comments
Yeah.
from people saying, don't make it
Don't
short,
make it
we like it
shorter,
long.
yeah.
We love the yapping.
So we're just here to
And it's just-
provide, you know, that's what we do. We're
Exactly.
providers.
Voice of customer. Voice of
Exactly,
customer.
exactly.
We give what the people want.
Exactly. That's exactly what
Yeah.
it is.
Alright, so that was a very long introduction to the week, and I was just discussing with Shanali how every week we will say that we have a solid script, but then we end up never talking about or
Never
sticking to the
sticking
script because
to
we
it.
yap and blab too much about other things. But we do have like an amazing topic that we need to talk about that we can go into detail. So we'll
Yes.
save that for next week.
Definitely.
But I want to talk to you about this new Netflix show that I've been watching.
Oh,
Well,
what is
MJ and I, we have both been watching. I don't know if you've seen. It's called, I think, Culinary Wars or
I've heard
Culinary
of it,
Class Wars.
Yeah.
Have you seen Physical 100?
No.
It's like this show where people who excel at physical, so they're the best sportsmen or like athletic or physically advanced people, the top 100 people in Korea, they come into this
okay.
reality show and then they do different challenges and one person will win at the end of the day. So there's they had 2 seasons of this because the first season was such a big hit. So there's people who's represented Korea on a national level. And then there's CrossFitters, there's swimmers, there's all kinds of people who like martial arts people. So and it's like a massive production, right? There's like, you can't even imagine the props, the creativity. It's just the camera shots, everything. It's just so extra. So the same people who's done this has done this show that I'm watching called Culinary Class Wars. And once you watch this, Shanali, let me tell you, you'll be like, MasterChef is just like, you can't imagine how shitty MasterChef is.
Really?
Like because the production is just so massive and it's just so creative at the same time. So what they've done is, you know how, I mean, I still love MasterChef. No hate towards MasterChef. It's just still, I have a soft spot for it. But this one, let me tell you, so this is still in Korea. So what they've done is, so they get 80 people, it's like top 80 chefs who currently work in restaurants or who currently have their own restaurants to come in. So the first episode starts with them introducing some of these chefs, and these are like some of the best chefs out there, some of the best Italian, and from various different cuisines as well, and different age ranges, different, yeah, so both genders or like different genders. So it's like so interesting to see the different sort of the techniques, the skill levels from different skill levels. So some people are just cooking for cooking at a cafeteria at a school for kids.
Okay. Yeah.
Some people have their own restaurants. Some people have Michelin stars. It's just, yeah, people from all backgrounds. And this is 80 people. And then they introduced, so all of these people are dressed in black. That's how they introduced. And then after, as the show progresses, well, not the show, as the episode progresses, the introductions, then they introduce all these with these flashy lights. I think 20 chefs who are dressed in white. Now, these are more experienced chefs who's either got like Michelin star restaurants or who's like gone to famous cooking shows before and have won, who's cooking for presidents at the White House, chefs from America, but also has Korean roots or whatever. And and I feel like the youngest chef might even, in this white, people who are dressed in white, the youngest chef probably has like 19 years of experience. So things are, so they're very experienced. So what they do in the first round is they get these 80 chefs to, and then there's only two judges. One judge who's like very experienced, quite an older gentleman, and then the next judge is quite young, and he has the only restaurant in Korea that has 3 Michelin stars.
Oh, nice.
And he's just, I don't know, it's just the way they describe flavors and the way they identify flavors just blows my mind. I just don't know how they have one like they have one spoonful of like whatever the other people, and they're like, this has 3 different kinds of seaweed. I'm like, what?
There's 3 kinds of seaweed? What?
I honestly, don't ask me. I didn't know either. So what they get to do in the first round is they get all these black apron chefs who these 80 chefs, they compete with each other. They have to make their best dish or like a dish that represents them. And then they will choose out of the 80, the judges are going to choose 20 people.
Oh, wow.
And then as it progresses to the next step, so you have 20 black apron chefs and then you have 20 white apron chefs. And then they pick someone to battle against each other. And then they have like a blind tasting session where so the judges don't know who cooked which dish. Yeah. They're not even allowed to see the dish because, you know, sometimes you can say from the plating what, you know, the way a fine dining chef plates a meal and a more homely or a more traditional cook plates a meal is quite different. So they're not even allowed to look at the dish, so they're just blindly like tasting, and then they're like, oh, this has, I don't know, this chili powder in it, this has this seaweed, and I'm like, how are you doing that? And I'm like, I want that kind of skill level. Like, I want to be good at something, but I want to be that good at whatever I do. It's just so good. And then they battle, and then they have the remaining amount of and then there's this one chef who's never studied, who's never gone to school for like cooking. He's basically had a library, or like not a library, a bookshop that had anime in it. So an anime, you know, not anime. Is that anime? Like the comic book shop, actually. Yes. And he's learned to cook by looking at the dishes in comic books.
Oh, wow.
That's how he's learned. And he's like excelled at it. And he can only make Chinese dishes because these comic books have Chinese dishes. And it's just so wholesome and so cute because, and then he says that the only reason he came to the show was because he wanted to validate whether he had learned the right things from these books. because he's never like learned it from somewhere else. He just read it and then he's tried it. And when he presents his dishes, he even have the pages from a comic book that has that dish.
Yeah.
It's just the most
That's so
adorable
wholesome.
thing.
Yeah.
I know. And then, and also there's this one lady who cooks for children at a school cafeteria. And she talks about how, you know, kids are quite picky eaters. They don't know, and they don't necessarily like to eat the nutritious food.
Yeah.
So her specialty is that she adds flavor so that the food that the kids don't like to eat, it is
Taste good.
she cooks it taste better, or taste she cooks them in a way that it would taste better for the kids. And that makes some judges like emotional about it, because you know it's quite nice and very wholesome what they do. And then among these also there's like Michelin star chefs as well, and it's like, how are you doing this? And one of them, which was an apprentice of one of the judges, and is like, oh, and then he tastes his dish and is like, you've improved so much since, like, you know, you've been my apprentice, but you've improved so much. So it's just very wholesome. And also you'd notice, even in both Physical 100 and these shows, one thing I noticed is that how polite Korean people are. Even when they talk smack, they, you know, obviously, you know, being a reality show, they get people to talk smack about, you know, each other. But even when they do it, they're just so polite. It's just so wholesome. They would like say something mean, and then like, and then they would say sorry or apologize afterwards, which is like so sweet. But we are absolutely hooked on this show. It's not over yet. We're still. Yeah, but the production quality is insane. It's just
check it out
of this world. You need to watch this.
I will.
And it's quite fast paced too.
Oh, good. Yeah.
So it keeps moving quite.
Yeah. And I like
well.
cooking shows. Anything to do with cooking. I quite
Yeah,
enjoy it.
who knows? You might even like. I don't know. Maybe Ryan might like Physical 100. And it became so popular on Netflix. I feel like everyone watched it, and then we were like kind of forced to watch it due to peer pressure, and then we ended up loving it. And then we even watched the second one, and now this. This show also, I think it had been on Netflix for a while now. I saw it one of the other podcasts that I'm listening to. One of the guys is like obsessed with this, and then I sent it to MJ. I was like, we need to watch this. And then we're like, let's watch the first episode, because MJ is not really into those type of shows. But then MJ's like, oh my god, this is the best. And then he's like, I can taste the flavors. I'm like, you don't. No, you don't. It's just
Slight exaggeration.
no, he's like, he's bamboozled. It's like, why did he do that? Why is he cutting it like that? And I was like, because it absorbs the flavor that way. I was like, oh my god. He's just, his mind's blown about. Exactly. So highly recommend, if you guys
Thanks for the recommendation.
want to watch it, definitely give it a go. But I think we're going to wrap up for now.
Yes, we will. We'll do.
Yeah.
We'll try and stick to our script. No promises, but we'll see next week.
We shall try we say this every time.
Every
but
time,
we'll try
man.
our best.
Every
We
time.
are trying our best. Trust me, we
We're
are.
trying, guys.
All
Anyways,
right. So
Cool.
hope you enjoyed this yapping session. We definitely enjoyed it.
Definitely.
But hope you guys enjoy it and have a good week, and then we'll see you again next week.
time. Bye.